Hey guys, it's Chris with Kentucky Outdoors and Reloading again. I know it's been I think a couple of weeks now since, or maybe a week since I put a video out, but I've had some projects going on around the house I was trying to get finished up before fall got here, and wife and I took a little trip, took a little vacation, get away from work and the house for a little bit, so that was nice. Uh, I think I'm going to do another kind of a real quick reloading uh, segment, I guess you might call it, for the 222 Remington again. I'm not going to go back through in great detail. I think the first series of videos that we did should be good enough. I'm not going to show any uh, tumbling, cleaning the brass. I'm not going to show any of the annealing, anything like that. Probably going to, anything that I do show is probably going to be real short, or I may even put it in like a speedy mode, fast forward kind of through it, like so it's not so long and hopefully not so boring. But I do want to turn the camera around here and show you the notebook, the notes that I've taken from the last range session that we had. I think we've already confirmed one load that we have with the IMR 3031 and the 50 grain Hornady soft point bullet. I think we're good to go on that. We've shot that 3 different times and confirmed that. Does seem like that's a good load for us. I've got a couple of other ones that I want to try out just to go back and confirm, and then we might take a moment to look at maybe some new loads. I did buy a 40 grain Hornady VMAX, and we might try that out. And then I've got I forget, we'll have to look here in a minute. It's a 30 or 35 grain VMAX I bought while we were on our trip. We may give that a try too. And once we kind of establish a handful of these that we like as a good load and a good shooting load for us, I think we'll get the chronograph out and we'll shoot it over the chronograph. I only have one of the old Magneto speed chronographs, so I want to kind of wait until I get a load worked up that I really like, and then the Magneto speed, if you're not familiar with it, goes on the end of your barrel, and I don't want that to change my group size or point of impact or anything like that. I don't want it to affect my group shooting, so I usually wait until I'm satisfied with the load I've got worked up, and then I'll go back and shoot a few rounds over that chronograph just to get some velocity readings and standard deviation and extreme spreads and things like that. So let's turn around here and look at the book and see what we got going forward, and then we might show a little bit of the reloading. Hang tight. All right, guys, we've got the camera turned around here, and we're going to look at our notebook here again. Want to make sure we're taking notes so we can go back and see what we've done, what we like, what we didn't like, and once we find out a load that we're satisfied with, we can go back and look at our notes, and we can make sure that we can duplicate that load. So, and that's what we're doing here today. And last time we done the Hornady 50 grain soft point, we were 20 thousandths off the lands, 1.774 base to ogive. We shot 2.3-inch groups. I think they were like 0.325, and another one was maybe a little bit bigger than that, I forget. And then we had one that was a 0.56 with the IMR 3031, 21.3 grains, CCI, BR2 primers, and Hornady brass. And the other loads that we want to work up and confirm is the Sierra 52 grain Match King hollow point boat tail. We're 5 thousandths off the lands at 1.823 base to ogive. We're going to try IMR 4198 at 18.6 grains. Before we shot I think it was a .410 group, and then an IMR 4198 at 18.9 grains, and we shot a .582 inch group. I'm kind of thinking that this probably will duplicate, or I believe it should, because we've got two grain charges there that were within 0.3 of each other, and they're consecutive to each other, and they both shot a really good group. So I don't know that I might even load one up in between those two, but I think we're just going to do these two for now, just to confirm that these are good groups. And then the nozzler, I'm a little more doubtful with it because the two groups, the load charges are, there's a little bit of gap between those two, but we're going to try them out anyway just to confirm. It's a Nosler 55 grain Varmageddon. We're 5 thousandths off the lands at 1.821 base to ogive. We're using the IMR 4198 at 17.9 grains, and then the IMR 4198 at 18.2 grains. So, no, I misspoke there. I said there was a gap in between those two, and there is not. So, yeah, I don't know. Not sure what I was thinking there, but yeah, we probably should be able to duplicate this thing, because that's two charges there that were pretty close to each other, and shot pretty close groups on both of those. So that'll be interesting to see. I misspoke there. I apologize about that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to load these four up and get ready to go to the range, see if we can duplicate those groups or close to it. It is cooling off a little bit here in Kentucky now. It's not, the temperatures, we're still high 70s, low 80s, a little bit of humidity, nothing like we were 4 or 5 weeks ago when we started this process. So obviously you're going to get a little bit different velocity readings as temperature drops and as temperature rises. Also, this is a good point for you beginners, new guys starting out reloading. If you work up a load in the summertime, you're going to probably reach pressure quicker in the summertime because of the heat than you will in the wintertime. So if you work up a load in the wintertime and you decide this is where I'm stopping at, and you know it's kind of maybe on the upper end of your charge weights, you're going to want to be very careful if you go back and take that out and shoot it in the summertime, because you may be over pressure and you may run into problems there. So my suggestion to you would be either do your testing in the summertime so you know you're safe. You worked up your load in the summertime when it's hot, and then in the wintertime you know you'll be safe to shoot. Or if you work up your load in the cooler months, the fall or the winter, make sure that's when you do your testing and shooting, is during those fall and winter months. A lot of people like to work up their loads during the cooler weather, cooler temperatures, because that's when they're going to be deer hunting, and that's when they're going to be doing their shooting. So they want to see how that load will react under those conditions, under those temperatures. So just be mindful that if you work up a load in the winter, you want to be careful if you're going to shoot that in the summertime. So I guess let me get the camera turned back around here, and we'll get the press set up, and we'll get started doing a little bit of the reloading process again. Hold tight. Well, one thing I would like to mention, and I don't think I ever mentioned in any of the previous videos, and I'm not trying to make a plug for anybody. I'm not definitely not sponsored by nobody. So, but I do want to mention this inline fabrication uh, press plate. These things are just awesome. I would encourage anyone getting into reloading, or even if you've been into it for a while and you've got presses mounted on your bench, you need to look at these things. When I built my bench and redone this room, I had in mind that I wanted to put this, I think it's called a top plate, on the bench so I could swap my presses in and out. And then if I wasn't using the press, I could take it off and have my bench clean. You can mount these on top of the bench. This is made to use a router and cut into your bench, and then you can flush mount it. I kind of like that idea. That way, if I had anything up here, there wasn't anything sticking up above the bench and for it to hit or catch on. So I did buy a little cheap router and cut that out and mounted that in. It wasn't that hard. I'm so glad that I bought this and done this. It's been great to have this, to be able to interchange things. You can also buy the quick change plates for other accessories like case trimmers and deburrs. Oh gosh, I don't know what all. I think you can even buy like your powder throw stands can go on them. Just probably anything you can think of, they make a plate for it. And it's got this little cover here that keeps the hole covered up so you don't drop anything in it. I like getting it, and I'm getting right in your guys' way. You've got a little set screw back here that goes on top of the tongue when that goes in there. Let me grab this press and this quick change plate here. And you'll see that the press has the plate mounted on it. Has these two studs on the bottom of the press. There's some wing nuts that go on that. This tongue goes right up and under there, just like that. And I usually just run this little set screw down until it touches the tongue back there. There I am reaching in front of the camera again. And you've got the little wing nuts that go on the studs on the bottom of the quick change plate. And I have a couple other presses that have these plates on them. And you buy the plate specific to what press you have. And you can get on the Inline Fabrication website, and very easy to, and you don't have to torque those down, just good and snug. The thing's not going nowhere. So that was one thing I kind of wanted to mention there. That's been a big help and a game changer for me, I think, doing that or having that on the bench. So we've got to put our little priming arm in over here to block the hole in the side of the ram over there so the primer doesn't come out the wrong side. And our universal decapping die, we've already got it set from the last time we used it. I haven't used it for anything else, so I know it's still set from the last time we load it. I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to get my garbage can down here to catch the primers. Excuse me. I'm going to get our brass here. Get it all ready. And just dump this out. Get that over there out of the way. Let me grab this reloading tray. We will knock some primers out. So I think we're on a pretty good path with the 222. If we work up these couple of loads for the Sierra bullet and a couple of loads for this Nosler bullet, I think after that we're going to move on to a couple other bullet and powder combinations just to try something new, something different. Like I said, I've got, I believe, a 40 grain Hornady bullet over there, and I just recently bought, while we were on our trip, a 35 grain VMAX. That little guy ought to be getting on with it. That little light bullet should be able to really get some velocity out of that thing. That would be a piece of lightning, I would think. But we'll find out, and that's part of the fun of it. So I want to say again to everyone out there that's been watching the videos and been subscribing, I've been going up steadily in subscribers, and I want to say thank you. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. It's been very humbling to have that many people subscribe to this channel. No more videos than I have, and no longer that I've been doing this. It just amazes me, and just confirms that our gun community is an awesome community. And I really do appreciate you guys very much. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for subscribing and watching. Thank you all for all the comments that you left. I really do appreciate it. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27 that we knocked out pretty quick. So those are deprimed. I'm not going to show the tumbling or the annealing, and we'll be back. We'll probably be ready to do some full length resizing. So hang tight. All right, guys, we're back from doing a little tumbling and some annealing. Now we're on to full length resizing, and I'm not going to talk much about this, and not going to show a lot. We've already went over this in previous videos, so I don't want to get this video any longer than it needs to be. We're not really doing much today. We're just reloading. So what you see right here is what you're going to get with the full length resizing. And then next thing is we'll be on to checking our overall length of our case, see if we need to do any trimming, and chamfer deburring, double checking the cleanliness of the primer pocket. So that's all we're going to do with this. We finish these up, we'll be on the next step. All right, guys, so we checked our overall length of our case. We're still good. We don't have to do any trimming on it right now. So we're on to chamfer deburring, brushing out the necks again, just running the swipe through the primer pocket. Where you at, camera? There you can see. So pretty much the same thing we've done a few other times. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So let me finish these up. Next thing we'll be doing is seating primers. So when we finish this one up, I'm going to turn the camera off and There we go. All right, let me finish these up. We'll move on to the next operation. All right, guys, so we're going to be doing some priming. We're just going to stick with priming on the press right here. Same thing as we done last time. No, nothing new. Same old thing. So, just do a couple here for you on camera real quick, so you can remember what we were doing. Check and make sure that feels flush, or preferably just a little below flush. Good firm push, and you can set it there. Make sure you don't feel no wobble on it, so you know the primer is not proud. And that's all I'm going to show with this. No need to make it any longer. Finish these up. We'll be throwing some powder. All right, guys, we're throwing some powder. You can see over here, I've already got these loaded. These are our confirmation test loads with the 55 grain nozzle of Armageddon and the 52 grain Sierra Match King. Like I said, that's just for confirmation. We want to load those up again, make sure those are going to group like we think they're going to. I'm going to go ahead and load up this Hornady 40 grain VMAX, and I was kind of hoping we could use a different powder, but I didn't really see anything that like that I wanted to use or what I had in stock. So I'm gonna stick with the 4198. Kind of hate to do that because around here this is kind of hard to find, and when you do, it's just ridiculous as what a pound of this powder costs. Ridiculous what a pound of powder of anything costs anymore, but especially this stuff, it seems like it's very high. But I've got it. We're going to use it and see how this 40 grain VMAX likes it. So I guess let me just kind of get going back here again. I've got my beam scale set. I'm going to get my digital scale set here, and I'll throw one or two charges, and we'll probably stop after that because I don't want the video getting too long any longer than, let's see if I can't get this thing to stop wobbling so bad here. This is a slow process, and I don't want it to take up a lot of time in the video. So we've done this before. You guys know what we're trying to do here. Getting that beam moving. Then I'm trickling up to get my beam line and my zero line in line with each other. And then I bring it down to my digital scale just to confirm. And I'm looking for 19.7 grains, my starting load. It looks like where we're at. And I'm going to work up to 20.9. The book calls for 21.2 to be the max. I'm going to stay off that just a little bit. I'm going to stop at 20.9. And then that'll give us 4 different charge weights or 5 different charge weights to try. Yeah, five different charge weights. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these off camera. I don't want to make the video any longer, like I said. So I'll get back with you when we're seating bullets. Okay, guys, we're seating the bullets now. I'm on my last set here. We're loading the 40 grain Hornady VMAX. It's got a pretty good little boat tail on it. That's a tiny, tiny little bullet. And excuse me, I was going to go up one more charge weight above this one. And after I dump powder in this guy, I'm not at a compressed load right now, but I'm starting to get just above the shoulder and starting at the neck right there with my powder. And where this bullet is going to end up at, I'm probably just barely sitting above that powder. So I didn't go up anymore. I was going to go up one more charge weight, another 0.3 grains. I probably could have done it, but I just didn't want to take a chance on it. I'm kind of worried about these now, if I'll be pulling these or not if I hit pressure. But I'm going to go ahead and load these and see where we're at with them. I believe we'll be all right. And if it looks like we hit pressure, we'll just stop and we'll come back and we'll pull the bullets and dump the powder and save the primer and do it over again. Something else. So never gonna know until we try. So this is our last one right here, guys. Let's double check our cartridge base to ogive here. We're looking at 1" 785. I'm 1" 784. That's been running about a thou under. I'm not gonna worry about that. So we are done. We have got, well, if I can get that in there, some Sierras loaded up and Nozzlers loaded up to confirm group sizes, and we've got a new batch loaded up with the 40 grain Hornady VMAX we're going to try out. And I don't know if you guys have caught on that I don't have the RCBS dies that I used last time. I was at the local reloading store a few weeks ago, and he had a used set of Lee dies in 222 Remington, and they look brand new. And I brought them home and just kind of cleaned them anyway. And I don't know if they cleaned them before they put them on the shelf, or whoever they bought them from cleaned them before they let them go, but they were clean as a whistle. Lee also has this micrometer seating depth head out that you can buy and put on your dies now. That's kind of the reason I bought that. I had done bought a few of these, planning on to put on some of my other dies. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy this other set of Lee dies so I can use this micrometer head on this project. Makes it really nice. It makes it a little faster with your adjustments for your seating depth. I like them. I've had some Hornadies in the past that had the micrometer head on it, and I really like those. I think Lee now has a die that has the micrometer head made onto it, so you don't have to purchase this extra if you don't want to, which is good. If you've already got Lee dies, you can go ahead and purchase this separately and add that onto your existing dies that you have. And I think Hornady's also come out with a new micrometer head. I've seen the advertisements, but I have not actually seen one in person or used one. But I like my Lee pressed and I like my Lee dies. I don't have a problem with them. I think they're just fine. And especially for just working up some good hunting rounds, not a thing wrong with them. And we've also seen that they work fine. So I'm pleased with them. It'll be interesting to see if our groups are still the same, changing these dies out. So I believe we'll be okay. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to close this out. So hang tight. All right, guys, we're going to close this video out. I don't know that I made a very good video for you, and I apologize if it wasn't very interesting or very entertaining for you. But we do have some groups loaded up that we can go ahead and take to the range with us now and do some confirmation loads and some new loads to try out. So we'll see how that's going to work out. I hope that I can get to the range this coming weekend and get you some of the results from that. And then hopefully, man, I tell you that those last couple of charge weights for that 40 grain VMAX, like I said, that powder was getting up. Uh, it was above the shoulder and right there at the neck, and that's why I stopped on that last charge weight. I was going to go up another 0.3 grains, but I didn't. And I bought those 35 grain VMAX, and I'm sure the loads are going to be pretty good for that even lighter bullet. So it'll be interesting to see what we can load up with that little thing. That little 35 grainer has got to be humming coming out of there. Uh, but it'll be interesting to see what we can come up with that. I'm excited about that. But I want to try these 40s out first and see how they perform for us. So I can't think of anything else to tell you guys other than, again, thank you for all the new subscribers and all the comments that I've been getting. Don't forget some of the shout outs that I gave for some of the channels. You guys really need to go check these other channels out and watch them. They're good entertainment. Like I said, you're going to learn something from them. I know I have. And I guess hopefully I'll see you next week and have some results for you from these loads. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good one. God bless.